Everybody, welcome to One Set. My name is Anthony Irvin.
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
This is my co-host, Jim Green. This has been a year in the making.
It's really been 23 years in the making. Who wants to tell it? You or me? I don't know. Let's do it.
But no, man, like I was saying, so today I watched The Last Dance for the second time around and loved it even more than the first time I watched it on TV. And I mean, me being I was a big Michael Jordan fan, still am a big Michael Jordan fan. And watching anything more than once, you obviously always get to see little things that you missed the first time that kind of connects, and you're like, okay, I didn't realize he was either saying it that way or, oh, I didn't look at it that way. So kind of watching it back, and you get to kind of like nitpick, and especially since it was on Netflix, you're able to like rewind. You're like, oh, okay, wait, what did this guy say again? And then what did this guy? Or, oh, I need to see this again. Especially when, you know, they're playing the clips of him, you know, just destroying everybody. Oh my God. Like and I guess I'm biased because I'm a big Jordan fan, but like, dude, the way he just moved on that court, there's till this day, I'll say the only guy that's closest that will ever get to him right now that unfortunately is not with us is Kobe Bryant. He was the closest in the mindset and how he played the game to Jordan. And it's just, and yeah, I could talk about this all day, but just watching it back again, it just got me so motivated. I just wanted to go on the basketball court right then and there.
So we have talked about, well, you have preached it to me on one of the earlier episodes on here on the pod. I still have yet to see it, but like, I'm at a point right now, like, I could probably really use watching that to be like, oh my God, like he was
man.
like so obviously I wasn't like super into basketball growing up. I mean, I played in my back, like on my back patio at my old house. Well, my parents' old house rather. Just like, you know, I mean, I played T-ball in Little League, and I know I've talked about that on here. And like, but I played basketball just casually. Like I didn't, I was never on a league or anything. But I always thought of like Michael Jordan as like, you know, I know he's great. Like he's like it, right? He's that guy. He's the
superstardom, like bigger than life, like superhuman dude.
I mean, it makes sense because, like, you know, he was in Space Jam, and they're all like, you know, cartoons and aliens, and he was just like, yeah, I'm hanging out with these guys, right? He was like,
do you guys pick me? Okay, let's go win this game.
and he's like, it's just water.
Right. You always had it in you. This is just water.
It's just water. wait. Who is it?
I love the movie.
Oh my God, me too. Who is it? I think it's it was, what's his name? Daffy Duck.
It was Daffy Duck that was,
Dude. Okay. Like right before that last play where, like, you know, Jordan does the stretch Armstrong thing, and it's like
stretch Armstrong, yeah.
Right.
If we had like a 3D thing going, like, yeah.
they're getting ready for that last play, and Daffy like throws on his football helmet, and his legs are just like,
it's gut check time.
Come on. It's gut check time.
Yes, I love it. I love that part.
That I was like, oh,
there's so many good parts in that movie just like that.
Wait, did you see the new like the LeBron Space Jam? I refuse.
Because
because they watered down Babs Bunny that bad.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
And it's just, not even just because LeBron was in there. It's just because it's one of those things like, oh, you're going to ruin a classic. And it wasn't even, you're not going to have a sequel to Space Jam because it would be kind of weird to have a different guy in there and then do a part 2. I just thought the whole concept of the story of the second one was just like, doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess once it probably gets available online or something, or on one of these streaming platforms, I might take a look at it and check it out, and maybe I'll have a different opinion. But I was just like, nah, I'm not sold on it. I was almost in the same way sold or not sold like I was before I saw the newest Batman.
Right.
And I guess that's probably how I'll have to do it, because I was not sold on the new Batman. I'm like, I mean, Robert Pattinson, he comes from Twilight. How is he going to be playing Batman and everything? And, so I was kind of like already kind of dissing him out. I'm like, okay, he's not Batman in my eyes, so whatever. I mean, but you were, like all about it. And to the fact that I was like, all right, maybe give it a chance. But after seeing it, I'm like, all right, he killed it. And we definitely, I think, talked about that. But, trying to stay back on the point of the fact that, I remember, and going through a lot of like the whole Last Dance series. So it's 10 episodes. So like I said, I know you wanted to get to it, but like it's just like any type of series. Like it's 10 episodes, but you like rush past them. Like before you know it, you're 4 episodes in. And
now
for anybody,
how long are the episodes?
An hour.
They're an hour, like full.
Yeah, roughly an hour, like 50 to 60 minutes.
It's so wild, like to think of all the shows that I've watched. And I say that like I've watched everything, and I totally have not. It's wild to think of how fast you can get through. So like when I watched The Office, they were like 22-minute episodes because they were only a half hour on TV, I think. And it's like
20 minutes without commercials. Yeah.
It's wild to think about how they can build so much storytelling in such a short amount of time. And then you have these shows that are an hour long. I mean, we're talking about, we're talking about like a docu-series, right? Like, so obviously there's like a million years of depth to have there, right?
Right.
But I remember I tried to, what did I try to get into? Westworld on HBO, and like it was just so long of a first episode, and then I like barely made it through the second episode, and I was just like, I can't do this. You know what I did watch was True Detective. Have you ever watched that one?
No, but so you were saying just about Westworld. I felt the same way about The Wire. I'll probably get a lot of people, if whoever is watching this with us. I felt the same way as you did, but me with The Wire. My brother tried to get me into The Wire, and it seems like something that I would like to watch, but it just took so long to get drawn in, and I felt like it was a chore to keep on watching it, and I just never got grabbed onto it. Like, I watched the first episode, and usually after like a first episode, I'm usually hooked. Like when I watched Ozark for the first time, the first episode, I was hooked. When I watched Dexter the first time, first episode, hooked. Game of Thrones, first episode, bam. Probably 30 minutes into the first episode, hooked. But like The Wire, after that first episode, I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess I'll watch the second episode. Maybe it'll get better. And even my brother was like, it takes a little bit to get into it, and I'm like, that's probably why, because I'm so used to having something just right out of the gate be like, okay, we're right into the story. But like, I guess with Wire, it takes a minute to get the backstory going and your character plots and everything. But I think I stopped 3 to 4 episodes in. I just couldn't get attention. My attention was not in it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what my favorite show of all time is. And I was at the car show in Philly.
Night at the Roxbury, right?
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding.
Ding. So my dad and I were at the car show in Philly with one of our old buddies and his dad. And he was telling me, he's like, there were like, I don't know, there was some like display up, and it was like a painting of Walter White, and I was like, and he looked like tough. I was like, whoa, who's that? And our buddy was like, that's Heisenberg, Breaking Bad. I was like,
yeah,
no. He's like, oh my God, this show is so good. Now, there had been 4 seasons out at the time. He had only gotten through 2 of them, and he was raving about the show. So I watched episode 1, and I was like, all right, get me to the part where he's bald and he looks like,
yeah,
a bat, right?
Yeah,
because he's, it's the whole thing about that show. It's the whole study of transformation. It's so interesting to me, like how he's presented as like this like really uptight, like I can't stand up for myself kind of guy, and then he gets diagnosed with cancer and he's just like F everything and just starts living his best life.
Right. And again, just like first episode or 2, bam, hooked. It didn't take you long to kind of just get hook, line, and sinker right into the plot of the movie.
I think,
well, series, not movie.
Sure. Yeah, I know what you meant. I mean, I think it's like it was like you were kind of waiting. Like the way it was presented is just so masterfully. Is that masterfully? It was like just so brilliantly. Let's just do that. Just change word. Yeah. So brilliantly well done that it's like it's like presented in a way where like it draws you in just enough. Like it didn't give away too much up front. Like I feel like Game of Thrones was like really like boom in your face episode 1, like, oh my God, this is wild with all the nonsense that's happening here. I feel like Breaking Bad did like the slow
even just like
the
very first scene of even the very first scene of Game of Thrones, like just the whole Walker scene right in the very beginning. You're just like, okay, this is gonna be good.
Well, it's so fascinating to me. Like I just went back and watched. I always go back. My favorite episode is season 7, episode 4, where like Daenerys takes Drogon and the Dothraki and just like bombards them in the field, and she's just like Dracarys and just flames everywhere.
That was them against the Lannisters, right?
Yeah. Where the Dothraki come over the hill and what's his name? Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Bronn, of course. Braun's telling Jamie, you should retreat.
Yeah.
Braun's telling Jamie, like, you should retreat. And Jamie's like, we can hold him. And then here comes Drogon and Daenerys. And it's just like, all hell breaks loose. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. That like the
that
thing
was an awesome fight scene.
Yeah. I really wanted the battle of, like, for Winterfell, to be like as good as that, number one. And number two, I mean, like the battle of the Bastards with Jon Snow versus Ramsay Bolton, I think was his name, right?
Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
Ramsay Bolton, yeah.
Well, he
definitely
was
one
Ramsay's.
Of the probably
that fight scene itself is just
top
insane.
3. Top 3 biggest battles.
In fact, I would go back and watch that next. Like after I just watched that I can't remember the name of the episode itself because I'm not like that much of a diehard fan that I remember episode titles. Like I'm just like
I don't remember episode title. I remember moments.
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of like remembering. Like I don't remember street names. I just remember like locations.
Right. I mean, it to me is like man, we are just like doing all the tangents right now. Like getting so sidetracked by this and that. Like it's like it's fine, whatever. It's like with music, like there are so many songs that like I'm familiar with. I don't know who sang them, or I don't know who the artists are, or like and maybe you're different on that because you're like a music buff.
Sometimes that happens, for me.
Excuse me, that was gross. Thanks. That it was actually pathetic. But there's just even movies on TV. I'll like be familiar, like, and know the actors and the actresses. Okay. But
by the way, what are you drinking, buddy?
This is the Berry Monkey Victory, the one that we had for
very nice.
I think episode 10.
Episode 10, right?
Yep. Jeez, it's so wild to think we're already like this is episode 21 already.
21, and we're drinking. We're legally able to drink on 21.
So
cheers, buddy.
Cheers, brother. So I got to give a shout out to my I can't call them the senior class, but they're like my teenage hip hop class at Anna Marie's. They were asking me tonight, like, you ever talk about us on the podcast? I'm like, I mean, they don't realize like that they're a huge part of my life, like, because one, it's my work. Two, I was them when I was their age, like growing up, like learning how to dance. And I was like, I really want to teach. I really want to be on the other side. And they're like, you ever talk about us? I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't name drop anybody because like you don't do that on podcasts, right? Like you're not unless you get consent from people.
Yeah. Or if you know, like the person's just like, oh, I don't care. But yeah,
right.
Most of the time we try to keep privacy out of respect for people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, you know, you don't want to be however many years down the road doing this and someone finds out that you talked about them and it's like public on the internet. And then it's like,
yeah,
you know, keep my name out of your mouth. Like, you know, the Will Smith thing. Right. Dude, when I
was a G.I. Jane show.
sure did.
Yeah.
They're getting divorced, right? Like that's a thing.
I don't know, and it probably. I mean, for them, it probably hasn't been the first time they've thought about it. So,
No, I swear I just heard that she was filing for divorce, and I was like, man, after all that, Jada,
right?
Jada.
Will's like, I slapped Chris Rock for you, and that's still not enough.
Literally,
I slapped the Rock for you.
I
didn't hear about that though. I didn't hear about any divorce thing. I am drinking some Blue Moon Belgian White.
There you go. You like your fair share.
Nothing too. Yeah. It goes down easy.
Yeah, I mean, like every once in a while I'll have one, but like it's gotta be it's one of those things, like it's gotta be on tap and with an orange slice in it. Like I can't do the bottle thing.
It definitely is better with an orange slice. Yeah, it's definitely better with an orange slice, but I can usually bear it without it sometimes. But if I had an orange peel, I would definitely go that route.
Listen to it. I mean, take it with a grain of salt because it's the internet.
Yeah.
So when I Google Jada Pinkett Smith divorce Will, the first thing that comes up is there have been problems for years, but they're barely speaking right now. If they were to split, Will has a fortune of $350 million that Jada would be entitled to half of under the California law. And in bold, it says this source hasn't suggested that the pair are taking a divorce, but it's sure that the couple's marriage is failing. That was, as of May 9th, 2022, which is like 2 weeks ago. 22, 2 Mondays ago. Yeah. I thought that I heard that it was definitely happening, but nothing. I'm not finding anything concrete that it's actually a thing. I wonder if he's like fighting to keep it quiet, and maybe she's running her mouth and
openly out there. Yeah,
people are like spilling the beans. Yeah,
she's been talking to Amber Heard too much.
It's so wild to me, like, to think there are almost equally. I mean, don't fact check me here, but it appears like there is so much push for her to be removed from the Aquaman series as much as there is for Johnny Depp to be back in the Pirates of the Caribbean, because apparently he saw Jack Sparrow going out like a specific way, kind of thing. Like there were big plans for it, and now it's just like, yep, nope. Like Disney was like, absolutely not, you're out, kind of thing, and like,
yeah,
like I get it, but I don't like it, kind of thing. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, I mean, his work. God, am I even allowed to say I have a lot of respect for him? Like, I can feel however I want, right? But when I heard,
heard,
yeah. When I learned that he never watched back his movies once they were like finished, I was like, what level of like, what even is that? Because it's like, it's like it's like, okay, this is good. It's like if Freddie Mercury spent all, I mean, according to the movie, spent all of the time that he
Yeah.
did producing Bohemian Rhapsody, and then he never heard the final take, right? And that's Johnny Depp,
Right. Yeah.
right? He literally goes all in
Right.
on every
Right.
part that he plays. He's
Does
just
all
like
the work, but never
does
sees
all
the
the
final
work, and he's
product.
just
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm done. Next. It's that is wild to me. Like wild.
I guess you probably have to get to a point where you're at that level, like you already know probably what you're expecting. Like you, once you're filming and everything, you're like, okay, I nailed that scene, blah, blah, blah. They'll cut it down to whatever they need. I don't need to see the final product because I know kind of how it's going to be. You probably got to get to that level, like where you're, if you're down below being like a new actor, you're going to probably want to see some of your films to probably learn for your next gig to be like, okay, maybe not do this or do that, but like if you're at the high stardom actor level, like you're at to the point where like, I don't need to see the final product, I know I killed it, or I don't need to see the final product, it was a mediocre movie, but I just needed the money, or I just did it, blah blah blah. But
Well, or it's like,
and I guess it's
I wonder
music
if it's
wise,
also, I wonder if it's like an insecurity thing too.
I don't think you can really get that out of music because mostly musicians are. Sorry, what?
No, I was just saying, I wonder if it's like an insecurity thing where it's like maybe he's actually uptight about like not wanting to see himself at work. It's just
That's true too. That's true too.
It's just weird to me to like ponder. Like, I wonder if he's like arrogant and he's just like, nah, I know I killed it, like you said. Or arrogance
Right.
not the right word. Cocky's not either, because I mean, you can. Okay, here's the safe word. You're that level of confident in yourself that you know, I did my best, and I was
Yeah.
filmed, and once filming wraps, whatever the editors do to the movie, that's on them, and I'm literally just mentally moving on to the next thing. It's just
Right.
wild to me to think about, because I mean,
It probably, yeah, like you said, it probably has to be a mental thing to just be like, okay, don't stay in one set of a mindset frame too long, because then you're gonna second guess yourself on something. And I guess that's how I can probably relate it to like a music thing. Like, I just put out a single, and when you're doing the mixing process and mastering, you don't want to set too much time on one song, because then you're just going to always find something wrong with it. So you eventually have to find an endpoint, release it, and move on to the next one. And then take those things that you're like, I wish I probably would have done more of this in that song or more of this. You just do that in the next one. Like, okay, maybe I'll put more emphasis on, like, I probably should have, done a little bit more editing power on the drums, or taken another take of that guitar, or taken like another examples of like vocal lines and stuff, done a little bit more. But so instead of like dedicating a lot of mental thing into one thing, you do the job, get it done, and move past, and then go on to your next thing. Because if you stay in this one zone, you're never going to improve.
Dude, I spent probably all of my 20s, like, when I was trying to figure out how to be a choreographer, like, second guessing myself to the point where the routines weren't getting built. Like, that's how in my head that I was about like trying to get content done and out there, that we would start pieces in August, and we would be just like, I should say I would be just wrapping them up in February, like 6 months later. And that was with me like staying up until anywhere between 2:30 to 6:30 in the morning, like on a Friday night before I had all day rehearsal Saturday. And I would literally just be trying to build for like 1 or 2 dances. But I had rehearsals all day on a Saturday with like 7 routines. So it would literally come down to like, because I couldn't pull the trigger. I couldn't make a decision on like anything for a decade almost. Right.
Right.
Like when building the routines, that is. But it would be one Saturday, I'd pick out 1 or 2 dances where I'm like, what needs my attention? Okay, let me focus all my attention on it and let me get almost next to nothing done. And then 6 months goes by and it's like, okay, it's finally concluding. Now, I literally look back on that decade in my life and I'm like, I spent, and I don't want to use the word wasted so much time. I just invested so much of my life into like trying to make like so minor of like decisions. And now in my 30s, I'm just kind of like, I walk into like, I will occasionally now like listen to music on my way. Like if I'm traveling to one of my further studios away from me, I will occasionally now play the music in the car so that while I'm on the drive there, it'll get my, my mind cranking or I'll be adjusting myself into that mind space where I'm like, okay, what's my vibe right now? And but I'd say not. It, it just like I don't want to breathe it out loud because it sounds like I don't care outside of work. But it's like I was just saying, I spent so much of my time in my 20s where I would stay up for hours and not get much sleep before a long day of rehearsal to get next to nothing done. And now I basically go into a classroom or rehearsal, I put the music on and I'm like, make the decision right now. Like I'm pitting myself under the pressure of like, do it right now. And it's also like, it's also like I think those 10 to I think it was 12 years of Fridays from September to March, April, where I will not get a lot of sleep and not have like a million things prepared ahead of time. That I was just like, I want to say it was like after our 10th year, when I was like in year 11 and 12, that like I just started going into the room and whatever came to my mind, I just trusted it and started going. And I started seeing some of my best work just from doing it right on the spot. So I was like, why can't I do this all the time? And it's because
it's almost like you used to just overthink so much. And now it's more like, and now it's more the fact that you're thinking less and just doing more and not trying to overthink a certain concept. You're just like, you say, like, think in the moment, just doing it right now. And sometimes it's your best work when usually you would be like, okay, let me take this and then try to dissect every little thing to make it like this perfect piece, where sometimes the first things that come out of your head, you look back and you're like, wow, that was actually really good. So, and it's, again, it comes with like, trial and error and lessons learned. And I think that's kind of how you learn to just, instead of being like, coming in, not that being extra prepared is a bad thing, but sometimes, and I think I suffer from it too. I can definitely be an overthinker, and sometimes it's just like, you just got to do it, man. Instead of thinking, oh, well, how is this going to translate? Are people going to like this? Is this something that I would write? Is this like, sometimes just do it. And sometimes it's your best work when you don't even think about it.
I mean, going back, like thinking back in the last 15 to 20 years of me, like teaching, building projects and routines and stuff, literally my best work has been just do it. Not to pull the Nike slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's my projects that I'd be like, that was all right, but not a masterpiece, are the ones that I spent the most time like trying to drill my brain about, which I think is kind of just like that self-realization where, this whole season, now that my recitals are coming up next month, aka well, once this gets what time is it? 11:24, Tuesday, May 24th. By the time this comes out, by the time Tuesday, by the time this comes out on Friday, it'll be like Memorial Day weekend, and then the next Saturday I'll have my first recital, and it's like just wild to me to think like, holy smokes, this whole year just like I think
it's crazy we're already in Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I mean, like for you that has like your 9 to 5, and I know we were talking, I don't even think we got too far into talking about like, I know that we definitely talked about it, but like when you're in high school and you get like summer break. Did we talk about that last week?
Yeah, we did. I think we did. Nate and I talked about it in last week's episode, but I think it was one of the last 2 or 3 that we did. I think it was
I'm pretty sure
we were definitely talking about, how. If it wasn't, it was definitely within the last 2 episodes. How, when you're in high school, you had like your spring breaks, your summer break, but then once you're done, then you have college, and you still have them. But after college, you start getting into your jobs, going into your full-time job. You're like, oh, I don't got any summer breaks. I don't got any spring breaks. The only times I get off is when I take off.
Yeah, and I mean,
we definitely talked about that.
We definitely talked about it. Yeah, I was talking about how my summer schedule early on, like right after high school, was like I would teach a slew of classes for 4 to 6 weeks, and then I was off for like 8 weeks. I was like, how did I even live? And I was like, oh yeah, when I was like 19, 20, and 21, I was like still living at home and like living off my parents, like feeding me and stuff. Like I didn't have any real bills at the time, and I was like, oh, that's how I did that. And it's just that yes. And now it's like living in an apartment, like coexisting and co-lifing with the lady ladies. I mean, it's been pretty like unreal navigating the past 15 years and thinking like, this is where I was when I was 20, 21, 22, and now where I was when I was where I was in my early 20s, where I was in my mid 20s, where I was in my late 20s, where I was in my early 30s, and now I'm in my mid 30s. It's just like, so it's like the study of transformation, right? And that's why I love Breaking Bad so much, because they talk about the character development with him. Like immensely. And that's why, going back to the Last Dance, is like I definitely like need to check in on that, because I'm at a point right now where I'm like not motivated, but I want to be, and there's times where you're like, I need motivation, but like you don't go out of your way for it, right?
Yeah.
You're just
And it's
like,
not
oh,
even,
I'm just.
Last Dance is definitely something that if you're not even a basketball fan, you can still get inspired from it.
Yeah,
Yeah, because just the way that his workflow was and his work ethic, you can relate it to a lot of different things.
I know people that weren't even wrestling fans, but they watched The Last Ride, like the Undertaker documentary, and
yeah, there you go.
They like were crying. They were like, "Oh my god, this is like insane!" And it's because, I mean, the Undertaker's like a pretty well-known name, right? Like, even if you're not a wrestling fan, I mean, Hulk Hogan's probably like the first one that everyone thinks about, and they're like, "Oh, he's the it guy."
Right.
Unless if you're like this new generation of kids, then it's probably like John Cena, right? Like he's probably their Hulk Hogan, right?
Exactly. Right.
Oh my god, that's just. I want to go and see Roman Reigns versus The Rock so bad next year. I literally keep saying to myself, like,
yeah,
I want to put money
awesome.
away. I want to put money away to go see that. Like, it's The Rock. He's one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now, right? And has been.
Yeah.
Dude, what a time to be a wrestling fan once we get to there, because like it's pretty inevitable that it's going to be a thing, right?
Did you hear the news that he's pretty much done his movie requirements for like in the first like quarter or two of next year? So I mean, it's kind of saying he's going to be available.
Yeah. I definitely read that like his calendar was wide open, and it's because he's going to be doing the WWE thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
dude.
I can see. I mean, if it's definitely like quarter one and quarter two, that's all WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Road to WrestleMania, everything. That would be the perfect time for him to just, out of nowhere, show up at the Rumble with Roman and say, "Hey, one last shot. I have one more thing to prove to this thing, and that's beating you." Well, I think Roman would probably say that because he's the one that's trying to get up on the totem pole, because obviously The Rock's at the top of that thing, so he's trying to be the number one guy. So that, I mean, obviously the story is going to write itself.
I'm kind of wondering if like they try to swerve us where it's like they bring The Rock in. Yeah, I don't like. I think this is what we're all looking forward to, is like, how are they going to do this? Because like it's going to happen.
Yeah,
but they're not. For The Rock to come back and do this because of who he is and how big that this match is heavily anticipated, like,
right.
WWE can do quality stuff. It's just like they have to put forth the effort and do it, right?
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
So they're talking about Roman's like lightened schedule, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they do something where it's like, I wonder if they do something where it's like, because Roman is actually absent, that The Rock actually comes in while he's not there, and he's like, "Where's the head of the table at?" Does the eyebrow thing. I did that by accident. But I also wonder if they do it where they bring The Rock in and he like joins the bloodline, where it's like he's allied with like the Usos and Roman, and then like someone does the turn. I wonder if they have The Rock be the heel. But I can't see them doing that because it's like everybody's gonna love him. I don't know, because they're talking about Roman turning face, right?
I was thinking on the same aspects that go off what you were saying, since Roman is going to be quote unquote taking part-time or leaving, he could leave the bloodline, leaving the Usos and Paul Heyman behind, and they're like, okay, he just left us. And then the hypothetical thing of The Rock coming in and being the guy like, okay, well, where's the head of the table? And then they start following The Rock because, I mean, they're just going to follow the next big guy. So then they pull the Heyman and Brock thing where Heyman goes to Brock thinking that Brock thinking that Heyman's back with him, but then they kind of pull the same thing with the Usos, where the Usos are parting with The Rock, thinking that The Rock's going to have the Usos because family, blah blah blah. But then they turn on The Rock, go back to Roman, blah blah blah, and then we get the whole storyline from that. That could be a cool thing to start off with too, because then that's how you get all the bloodline and The Rock involved,
like intertwined. Yeah, it's gonna be. I thought this past WrestleMania was really well done. So
I thought it was one of the better ones out of the last couple of years. I mean, disregard the pandemic WrestleMania because we just had to live with what we had. But I think it's definitely been this past WrestleMania was the one of the better WrestleManias in the last few years that we've had.
I mean, Cheyenne was watching it and she was literally like, these fans are literally getting one of the best WrestleManias I've ever seen. I mean, I still think 31 is like my favorite of the 30s, like this decade. 30 itself, 30 was huge because you had the Daniel Bryan big win. He had his match with Triple H. He had the Undertaker streak being beat. Yeah. Like that was. I'm not even putting that.
A lot of moments in that.
Oh my God, 31. The heist of the century, the cash in, just so good.
Yeah.
32 so to me was
so good.
32 was beat, like to me. I mean, you had the Shane McMahon Undertaker Hell in a Cell match, which like whatever. But you had Triple H winning the title at the Rumble, leading to that Mania, and it was basically just to give it back to Roman Reigns anyway. So I was just like, we all know what this is. Like it's really obvious.
Yeah.
33 was where the Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns, and that was, I mean, the best part of 33 was the Hardy Boys returning, right? Like, so good.
I still remember that time. I was coming back from a Bongo Boy Records show,
That's
and
right.
I just I had the network on my phone. Jen was holding the phone as I was driving, and they had the New Day coming out, and once the New Day came out, everybody knew that moment was about to happen.
Yeah.
And they, like, but we wonder who it could be. Who. Everything goes then, and then everybody goes nuts,
dude. Like hair on your arm standing up, kind of thing. Like insane. 34 was a big wet fart. Okay, so. That was where, so we like Shinsuke Nakamura was supposed to be AJ Styles. That didn't happen. And then Roman Reigns was supposed to finally beat Brock Lesnar. That doesn't happen. I was just like, what was it? And then you had John Cena calling out The Undertaker, and they had like a 4-minute match. I was like, this is just
a 4-minute squash match. Yeah.
Waste of a WrestleMania.
Which you could have called that all day because Cena was just, week after week after week calling him out. You knew it was just going to be like, okay,
Yeah, there was
Taker needs a revenge match, and he just needed to just go out, do a quick, hey, I'm just going to lead this match, do everything, be done. Because he just came off, didn't he just come off the Goldberg Saudi Arabia match? Or was he had some type of really bad match leading before that, and that was like one of the things in the Last Ride documentary that he's like, okay, I need a match to redeem myself.
It was the Roman match at WrestleMania 33, where he that was built to be his retirement
last one,
match, and because he was like eating hard, or soft, however, soft. He was watching back the footage and just like, I can't go out like this. So then he did the Cena match the next year, and then it was like after the Cena match. So let me think here. 36 Pandemic Mania was the Boneyard match. That was his last one, right?
Yes.
And of course, the WrestleMania that you and I went to was the one that he decided not to be a part of.
Not to go to. Yeah. Your very first WrestleMania, and you were just hoping that, because every year Taker was there, one of the years that Taker wasn't there. And I know that was the biggest thing you were looking forward to.
I was like, I mean, it's Mania. He's got to be there, right? And he was there. Guaranteed. He just wasn't. And then you know who was there? Hulk Hogan. And he came out on the ramp, where we were sitting, you couldn't even see.
Ant.
Yeah.
Ant City.
Well, it was like the uprights over the ring were CBing the stage, right? So
totally.
Now, I will say, I thought Mania 35 was built really well. And that's not just us being there. Kofi Mania was huge.
Like I said, we had all three titles change belts.
I mean, Seth beat Brock, that was huge, and then Kofi got his big win, that was huge, and then Becky Lynch got the double win in the main event with the triple threat, and that was you know what my favorite part of that weekend was? The Pete Dunne match that you and I got to see.
Yeah, man, that was awesome, because we just it was you, me, and Jen. We sat down at Access and we just saw the ring, and we're like, okay, because when we went to Access before, we remember, having the ring there, and like, okay, it's just a couple NXT people, and NXT wasn't a thing back in
you
WrestleMania 29.
29, yeah.
29 NXT wasn't even like a thing. They were still just like D-League, don't talk about it. Just so by then 35 NXT was already, on the map. So we're just up on the bleachers thinking, okay, we'll just see a couple no-name NXT people. And while we were sitting there for like 5 minutes, all of a sudden they just call out Pete Dunne's name, and you hear his music. We're like, wait, what? Did you just say Pete Dunne? He comes in, I'm like, dude, we came in at the perfect time. Like, it was like a couple minutes later, we would have missed it.
We were doing like the Access thing, and I was getting to the point where I was like, I'd like to maybe like not be on my feet anymore, right?
It is a lot of walking that day.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fine. But I think we grabbed food.
But totally worth it.
Yeah. We grabbed food, we sat down, and we were watching, trolls wrestle that are no-namers. But then Pete Dunne came out, and I was like, because you know me, I'm a huge Pete Dunne fan, man. And
absolutely.
I mean, he's doing the Butch thing right now.
I was going to say, or Butch.
Waste. Waste. I was going to say is Walter, and then I was like, his name's not even that anymore either. His name's Gunther. Gunther, right?
Gunther.
Gunther.
Double waist.
Double waist, man. No, I think what's his name? Braun Breaker, the NXT champ. Now, the one that beat Dolph Ziggler on Raw. I've seen him twice, and I'm like, all right, he's probably the next guy. And Vince would not put that NXT title match on Monday Night Raw if he didn't know. Like, he was definitely testing him. I watched that match, and I was like, he's probably like your next top guy. Like, put him over Roman and just get on with it, right? Like, it's crazy.
I can see him. I mean, now he's not officially on the main roster yet, right? He's still going between NXT and Monday Night Raw, right? Or is he officially on Monday Night Raw now?
No, he's just NXT right now, from what I know, at least. But
because I know they've been trying to intersect some main roster people into NXT, probably just to get the ratings up and everything. But they've been, with Dolph Ziggler,
that
Miz, they had Natalia, whatever. Who else is going down there? I mean, a couple other main roster people, but like, I think it's good because they should have been doing that all along to kind of get more eyes on NXT. But again, I haven't even watched NXT or any wrestling thing in the last couple of weeks just because, again, nothing's really been interesting me. We missed the last pay-per-view because, again, didn't really care about anything.
Dude, it's just there's not much to care about right now. And to me, it's like, I get. Fortunately, the way that my work schedule pans out is like, right now, I like have to be like headstrong on like recital season, and there's nationals coming up. And usually it's at this time where wrestling is like beat as whoopsie. It's like terrible. Like, it's just not even. It's not
it's
good.
just even like the last couple weeks, like leading up to my gig a couple weeks ago, I would just have the TV on mute and just having Raw on just on mute, and I'm kind of half paying attention, but there wasn't really any moments where I'm like, oh, I gotta turn this on because I want to see this. Like, it's just like, okay, another match, okay, another segment, okay, Edge is talking, okay, this is happening. Like, it wasn't really anything that I'm like, oh, I gotta turn this on, I gotta take it off mute, so I want to hear what they're saying. Like, it's like you said, it's just nothing's really keeping me interested in wanting to really find out and continue watching right now. So hopefully leading in the SummerSlam or Money in the Bank, hopefully Money in the Bank or SummerSlam will have something to really, get me to watch it.
Well, I think the protected move is Cody Rhodes gets Money in the Bank, and then he cashes in on Roman and takes one of the belts off of him. So Roman's still a champion. He's just not a undisputed champion. That's why he's lugging around those two belts. Yeah. They didn't give him a single belt to say you're the undisputed champion. He's still lugging around two straps because he's going to lose one of them, which is what Becky Lynch did.
Absolutely.
So it's
I was gonna say just why they didn't do it with the women's, because they're still, doing two belts. So
I honestly think Cody gets the briefcase. I actually think The Rock is part of the Cody cash-in. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, so this is how they're
And Jim
going
is usually pretty good at making wrestling predictions, so you might want to listen up.
So if Cody gets the Money in the Bank briefcase, obviously people are going to look at him and say, well, you've got like one champion to challenge. It's Roman. Because before it was you had the undisputed belt on this person on this brand, and you had the WWE belt on this person on this brand. Now that you have one person holding two straps, when somebody wins Money in the Bank, it's like there's no question where they're cashing in. Like, so
Right.
I think if Roman is taking time off to do the Hollywood thing through the summer, that we'll get a Cody cash in somewhere between Survivor Series in November and the Rumble. And I would even put money in the Bank on at the Rumble, because then Roman has a match, barely gets by with the defense. The Rock comes out, does the whole like, I'm here, and
yeah, because you'll have to get one of the belts off him before the Rock feud, because they're not going to do a just undisputed match for that. So you're going to have to get one title off of him before he goes and faces the Rock.
But that's the thing is if Roman doesn't even have a match at the Rumble, like he just comes out, he's like addressing the WWE universe after his absence that just happened, that's been pre-planned. Then The Rock comes out, addresses him in the Bloodline, and it's this huge dramatic fiasco. And then The Rock just lays him out. And then Cody comes out, cashes in. Like that would be the way to protect Roman, but also build the Roman and Rock feud going ahead. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, you're going to have to put, like you said earlier, you're going to have to put a big blow in there to spark this whole storyline to make majority of the people want to, invest in the storyline, because you already know people are going to want to see the match, but you need something that's going to, put everybody's, eyes on, okay, this is going to be good, instead of it just being, okay, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It's just got to be bigger than the whole Samoan family type of thing.
Yeah,
even though that's whole logistics of it, but they got to make it bigger than that.
Well, and that's the thing is they're not gonna. Oh God, am I even? Okay, just edit this out. They're not gonna on either USA or Fox. They're gonna do it on WWE Network on Peacock, right?
Yeah,
like it's not gonna happen during the week, and if The Rock is as busy as he is, pardon me, I don't see him showing up before the Rumble. I just, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I would. My prediction is we're gonna get something from The Rock around the Rumble.
Yeah, I think so.
At the Rumble or the night after. That's my prediction. Because I think the road to WrestleMania is the best time to just it's enough time to build something. It's just hopefully they have something in play from between now and that time to kind of just map out how they want to throw that storyline in there. So it's all up to WWE Creative. It's all up to WWE Creative.
So, Ant, you're at the Tumbling In on Saturday?
Yes. I am at the Tumble In this Saturday, which, if you guys are watching this on a Friday, it is tomorrow night to kick off your Memorial Day weekend. It's in Prospect Park. I'll have a link for everybody for a Facebook link You guys can get all information. Feel free to come out. I'm playing from 9 p.m. to midnight. So feel free to come out. I know Jim and his lady will be there. Unfortunately,
Correct.
my lady will be sleeping with the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough. I'm I might have to be a really old man and take a nap throughout the day because I haven't played 9 p.m. to 12 ever. So it's gonna be a late start to play because I'm usually used to playing like starting either at like 4 or 6
4 to 8
or 7
or 6 to 9.
Yeah.
You playing till midnight
or like 7 to 10, 9 to 12. Whoo. It's gonna be tough, but I might need a coffee before it.
I mean,
but either way, we'll get it. We'll get at it. I'm looking forward to it because,
yeah, man.
Like I was saying with my last gig, I feel like the Undertaker in that aspect. Like I need to redeem myself from that last set because I'm still, in a mind about how my voice sounded in that last hour of my set. So playing this weekend will definitely be, I'm feeling good right now.
I'm feeling gorgeous.
My allergy, feeling gorgeous. So my allergies are under control. So I'm feeling good going into this. And this is a new venue I haven't played before. I know of it. Some of my musician friends have played it before. So I'm looking forward to playing for the Patreons and anybody who wants to come out. So if you guys are in the area, feel free to come out. Come say hi. The One Set Bros will be in attendance. And, come down, grab a beer, and say hi.
Dude, this is wild. I mean, this is kickstarting us into, summer mode. And
summer?
Like, again, throwing a shout out to my 8:30 to 9:30 class at Anna Marie's, my hip hop class there. They're such a fun group. I have 5 kids. They all vibe so well together. They were the first kids that were like asking me like, "Oh, like how's the podcast going?"
That's awesome.
They were like, "Can we be featured on your podcast?" And I was like, really, really like holding back because they're kids kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah,
gotta be careful with all that stuff anymore. But they were like, well, we'll send you a video and then like you can include us in the episode if you want, or you can post us onto your story. Or I was like, I'm gonna send it to Anthony and let him decide. No, just but the fact that reverse this, just throw. Yeah, but I gotta give a shout out to them.
Shouts out.
They vibe so well with me. And also shout out to Anna Marie Dance Studio in general because y'all have been super great to me. So thank you. Not that my other studios haven't. Just saving y'all for a different time. It also, we record this Tuesday night after I'm coming from there, so my headspace is there. But my kids tonight were like, "Are we your favorite class?" Like, and that's my favorite question. That's my favorite question that I get because I'm like, are you your Jesus, I can't even say this. Woo. I can. I was like, I wanted to say, are you your parents' favorite child? But I just stood there. I just.
There's your moment, kids.
There it is. Shout out, y'all. No, it's like really cool when they ask me that because like I can tell that they're yearning for like my acceptance and appreciation of them rather than, you know,
They
other kids
respect
that are,
you, like you said.
yeah. And that's the thing with that class that, you know, I don't have a student where I'm like, um, I'd rather if you just stayed home. Like I love everyone that comes to my classes. I appreciate them so much. I mean, they're putting food in my mouth, like they're putting a shelter over my head, right? And especially their parents, allowing me to teach them. So I have that level of openness. Um, what's the word here? Anth, come on, you have the master's degree. I don't have a college degree. That level of
They just
acceptance.
gave it. They just gave it to me. I don't even know why they gave it to me.
What's up, everybody? This is One Set, by the way. Hey, yo. We are an hour and almost 12 minutes into recording. We just wanted to welcome everybody in and thank you so much for tuning in. Hope everybody is well and staying safe. This has been an incredibly fun and random episode. We did get heavily into wrestling talk, and that's partly because there hasn't been a lot to talk about, and there's probably not even gonna be. So we talked about that. We talked about
we'll
the
see how the
Last
weeks
Dance.
go. You know,
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We talked about the Last Dance. I mean,
you got to watch that. So we're gonna get you into watching the Last Dance soon.
So
sooner than later.
Yeah, you were saying like you watched it back a second time and vibed. I mean, and then I got into Breaking Bad, and I've seen that 7, 8, maybe 9 times at this point. I'm losing track. But when I watched Tom Segura's like specials on Netflix back, I catch new things every time, and it's like usually like timing, delivery, like his influx of like voices, like it's so much that it's like it's really cool. I started doing this spontaneous project with my soloist in New Jersey that I work with, who, by the way, this past Saturday, killed it at his competition. And
so I heard, yeah,
that's awesome. It's so cool because like his mom reached out to me a year ago because I actually helped him wrap up his piece, because previous choreographer was like, just freestyle the intro and then just freestyle this part, because he's like a huge advocate of like be in the moment, freestyle, like whatever's on your mind, whatever, and like totally a thing. But that wasn't necessarily what they wanted. They were like, do you mind filling this in? So then I started working with them. And then after they got through the season, they were like, so we were kind of wondering if like, you know, you actually just choreograph the solo next year. And it's no knocking to the previous choreographer whatsoever. But I was like, I would love to. And I told the student's mom, I was like, I know that you guys aren't about winning, and I'm really just like, if you're having a good time, have a good time. Let's do it. And
absolutely.
But I was like, she's like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that hip hop solos like win first overall competition. I was like, well, I've made it happen, so it will be my mission to do it again. And I'm sitting there next to his mom during the awards, and they're announcing the overalls, and then they got the second place, and it wasn't him. And I was like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. He like, and then he won, and we stood up. We were like, it was just so
proud moment. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it helps because like the student, well, he's a senior, so he's graduating. So for him to be able to get that, and then he won like the title for Mr. Insert competition name here. It was just really cool. I was super proud of him, and it's been really, really fun working with him, especially because we talk about like the things that you and I talk about with music, like with timing, with like dynamic things, like because I can teach him a set of movement and he can just like do it. But then we talk about like the little details, the dynamics that like really makes it defines quality is what I should say.
Yeah.
It's like you can do a good thing, you can do a really good thing, or you can do a great thing, like an awesome thing up here, right? So that to me is what has been such a blessing, being able to work with him. Is like I have given him shapes to replicate with the music. I know I sent you the song back when I first started working with him. I'm like, this isn't like my vibe or like what I would gravitate to. And I think, did I send you a video of him or no? Like, did you?
I think you sent me a video of half the thing. I don't think you sent me a video of the full performance. So if you do, would love to see the full performance, because I remember you sending me the video. I remember you sending me the track that you did. I remember you sending me like maybe a minute or two of the actual like creation of it, of when you guys were just working some of the parts out. But I haven't seen the full thing yet, so I would definitely love to see the whole composition. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think because like teaching at all of the studios that I teach at right now, like, you know, my parents don't get to come out and see my work anymore. The fact that my mom actually drove up to KOP and like got to see him meant so much to me. And
that's awesome.
The fact that he performed it at his best, and like I was standing up on a chair in the back of the room, like in the hotel ballroom, like watching, because the competition was in a hotel where it's like there wasn't an elevated stage. The stage was literally just like laid on the floor kind of thing.
On the floor. Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's why I stood up on a chair, so that when he dropped low, I could see what he was doing. But I had Cheyenne in front of my right knee and my mom in front of my left knee. Pick and choose, whatever. He does this thing at the end where he just drops his focus and then he raises his eyebrows. And when I rehearsed him on Friday, I was like, I want you to just stay there for like 5 solid seconds still. Instead of going, boom, boom, walk away, I was like, just stay put. And I feel like it actually cemented the piece where he was just like, yeah, I just did that, and like let it digest.
Right.
I was standing, I stood, I got off the chair, and you know, Cheyenne and my mom were like, losing their mind. And then
Nice.
I ran into him outside, and then his mom outside. I was like, "This is the best he's ever done it," kind of thing. And I had one of my routines from the Bluebell studio that I teach at. They were competing like 20 numbers later. So it was convenient that I got to go and see both. And my kids from Bluebell, they crushed it. I was so proud of them. Awesome. And my boss told me, she was like, "I think they hustled and pushed harder because you were here." And I was like, well, I mean, they had 2 competitions prior, so it wasn't like their first time out or anything. But I mean, I got to, like, you know, give them that coach pep talk before they went on. And I was like, look, be strong, go out there, like, don't overthink anything, just go out there, do your thing, have fun. Is like, I think that's the thing that I've gotten so much compliments for over the years from parents, is like, on the competition site, instead of stressing the kids out, I'm like, you've stressed and worked hard in the studio to get to here. You're here now, you're in your costume, like, go out there and be fire and feel like a bows.
Like a bows.
Which you haven't seen
Hell
yet,
yeah.
right? The Impractical Jokers clip. I think I gotta send that to you, or you've seen it.
You gotta send it to me again. Yeah,
I'll shoot it your way again. That's fine. But yeah, it was just an awesome Saturday. I went up to Bluebell. I taught, and then Cheyenne rode up with me, and then we had lunch at Maggiano's. We went to the KOP Mall, which is huge. I mean, I called you from there, and we're not going to talk about why I called you from there.
Right.
I'm like, what a waste of money that was. I can't even friggin' wear that shirt anymore. I didn't know what's going to offend anyone. But then the comp was solid. Like, it, you know, my kids did awesome. I'm so proud of them.
That's awesome. It's got to be a great thing to, you know, set an example for kids and, like, teaching them, and then you see them, you know, achieve their goals off of something that you taught them. It's got to be a whole different ball game on a level of, like, you know, you're teaching these kids on certain things, and then you watch them do what you've taught them over the last, like, year or so. And yeah, I can only imagine how that makes you feel as a teacher.
I mean, even, like, especially my Bluebell kids, and I mean, the couple studios I'm at, and I've been at for a bit, but my Bluebell hip hop team kids, the 3 of them I've worked with for the last 3 to 4 years. So it's like, I worked with them before the pandemic hit. We've all navigated this pandemic, and I have such a great vibe with them when I teach them, that it's like, we have such a great balance of, like, all right, let's get to work, versus, like, but we're here to have fun too. And I don't, of all of the classes that I teach, I don't get that every time. Like, sometimes it's like dead serious, like real serious. And sometimes it's like, pardon me, sometimes it's like, nope, this is legit, like, just, we're having fun. So, like, those classes where I get the balance, like my Anna Marie kids, they'll come in and they'll want to chat with me for a few minutes, and they'll catch me up on their day. And then I'll be like, all right, go to your spots. And they'll be like, okay, he's in teacher mode now. And, like, there's an understanding there.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we can do both, but like it's the classes where like that understanding isn't a thing, is where it's like it's either this or this. It like, so Venn diagram, right? Like
Right.
it, I'd say half of my classes are like here or here, and then half of my classes are like that juncture in the middle where it's like we can do both, where we're going to work, but then we can have a good time, or we can have fun. And then when I say go to your spots, it's let's get to work. It's very half and half.
Yeah.
And I got to say,
wrap that.
Go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, I was just going to say I'm very fortunate to be able to work multiple locations where it's not like I just show up to one place and I know it's either you're expected this or you're expected this, even though they want you to be here. Where every workplace is like, we want you to have fun at work. And then they're like putting their thumb down on you, and saying you're not doing enough. Or
right.
You know, there's places that are just kind of like, you have this many minutes, hours, or like throughout this week, get this. Like, here's your stack of things that we need you to do. Take as much time as you need. That's not like realistic anywhere. I can't say anywhere, but that's not realistic across the board, is what I was trying to say. My bad.
No, I was just saying to kind of, wrap this up a little bit, but to go off what you just said on the fact that, like, there's times where you can have fun, but then there's that serious mode, like, all right, get to your spots. And to wrap this up, since the core of this podcast was talking about The Last Dance, one more thing I'll say about Michael is the fact that when he was in practice, you knew you couldn't stick around. He was there to practice. You weren't going to be lackadaisical. You weren't going to be there laughing and joking and, having a good time. We were in here to work. We have a goal. We wanted to be champions. And if you're not, you can get the hell out of here. But then off practice on, back in the hotels or wherever they were, then he can be fun Michael. He can be this and that. But when it was either in practice or on that court, he meant business. That was game time. He was in another focus mode. But off the court, off practice, that's when you probably got your different side of Michael. But yeah, it's cool to kind of just. I think that's what you have to kind of be as a teacher, is like, you don't want to be the strict teacher to be like, okay, no fun and no games and no fun and it's always serious all the time. There's always been a lot of teachers like that before, but knowing that middle ground to, like, have the respect of your students, but then also let them know, like, okay, I mean, we can have fun, but there are times where I need to have you guys pull in because this is a serious time. I mean, although we can crack jokes, we can do this, but hey, I'm still here as your teacher and I need to teach you something and I need you to get through what I'm trying to teach you. So I think you've gained a lot of the respect over your years of teaching. And I think the kids are definitely, gravitating towards that. And I think, especially with working with kids, they feel vibes really quick and they know whether to take you serious or not really quick. And I think you're really good at working with kids on the fact that how to draw them in, to let them know, hey, okay, we probably just, had a little fun moment, but hey, draw back in, let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my perfect example of that was not the kids I was talking about that I have 8:30 to 9:30, the class that I have before that. It's a very mixed dynamic where, like, some of the kids are there and it's like half of the room, it's like they're company kids. They take a lot of dance classes and they're there all the time. And then the other half of the room is like, we show up just for this class basically once a week. So I'm like, okay, so I gotta try to fill the gap in the middle and find the happy medium, right? So typically it's a very loose class where I'm like kind of easygoing on them, but tonight I was like on them. I was like, back to the top, do it again, do it again. Like they would mess up like 15 seconds in. I was like, nope, start over. Like I was drill sergeant teacher tonight, and they were their best tonight because I was like hustling them, and I was like, God, I hate to be this person, but the hard-earned money that the parents are making to pay for these kids to be here, like this is what they want, right?
Yeah.
So I was like I hate to be pressing them so hard, but I don't want them to go on stage and look like trash either, right? It's like
absolutely. And one thing, you're representing yourself out there too, and the studio. You're representing the studio and yourself as a teacher, so you don't want them to be going out and bombing, and then be like, oh, well, this is a dance by Jim Green. Like, well, don't say my name, buddy. Like, come on now.
Keep my name out of your mouth. Slap.
Slap. And on that, thank you guys for watching.
You can check us out on all of the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all the things.
Yeah, we just started getting on Stitcher, and we just got added to Google Podcasts. So anybody listening on those two, follow us, subscribe, and write us a review. Comment. I think you can comment on something. If not, comment on the YouTube channel. Let us know what you're loving, what you're not liking about the podcast. We're always love to see your feedback. So, guys, this has been another episode of One Set. My name is Anthony Irvin. My co-host, Jim Green. We'll see you guys on another episode.
Love you, brother. Cheers.
Love you too, buddy.